Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the LWN Network. I am your host, Tammy Nation of Headline Hits, Monday through Thursday, noon Eastern Standard Time. I hope everybody had a pleasant, peaceful, wonderful weekend, whatever that may have looked like for you. We had some kind of crazy weather on Saturday and overnight to Sunday, but today is supposed to be a beautiful day. It is already May 5th, 2025. You guys, heading into summer, heading to July, which July 4th is always a good time. Nice celebrations for this country, and it means more each and every year that we're able to celebrate that. And this year, I think, is going to be a good one. So I have a couple of announcements here. First off and foremost, Trump is going to be signing some more EOs this afternoon. I'm going to keep an eye on that to keep you guys posted on what those will be. It's about 2:30 or 3 Eastern Standard Time. I think he's supposed to be signing them. And the good news is, the fun news, is it always is, we are going to have a show tonight. It is going to be LW, Jeff B, and myself. Jeff B was not able to make it last week because he had some work that he was called in to do, and it was last minute and important. So no, Jeff B wants to be here each and every time that he's able to, but work did call him away. But I'm really excited about tonight because we're going to have some little tidbits from Jeff B. You know, he always brings what he's learned, what he can share with us, and we appreciate that so much. And we will be talking about Alcatraz. I have the story today that we're going to talk about how Trump wants to reopen Alcatraz and whatever kind of topics they'll be out there. Actually, we're going to have a few different things. But the biggest news of all, there is a phone number that our mods have that they will drop in chat and they can share with you guys. It is for our live call-in show. Tonight is going to be our first live call-in show that we've done in over a year. LW and I did that about a year ago, but the phone system and everything was kind of crazy. Well, we've been working behind the scenes to get our own number and to have this special program that is paid for with the phone number. So we are so thrilled to announce tonight you guys are able to call in. So the number is 620-317-1776. Like I said, the mods do have it and dropping it in chat all across all platforms. So write it down, screenshot it, whatever you need to do, because we'd love for you guys to join us tonight. Give us a call, you know, vent and say or ask questions, whatever it may be. We want to hear from you. And LW has been wanting to do this for a very long time, and he didn't want to do it again till we got it right. And boy, it's been a lot of work, but so worth the effort. So that is going to happen 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. You guys join LW, Jeff B, and myself for our first live in call-in show for a very, very long time. I look forward to talking with you guys, and I know LW just is chomping at the bit. Can't wait to get off work and head home so we can do this show tonight. Very excited about it indeed. So that is the big news so far that occurred over the weekend. We got that up and running. We did not have, unfortunately, the show on Saturday night on Rumble, but we are working on getting a notice that goes on Rumble that tells you if there's not going to be a show, because I would like you to always assume there's a show unless we put that little screenshot up that there won't be a show. There were technical difficulties, a computer crashed and all this other stuff with our producer that runs it, one of them, and the other producer was trying to put it on and couldn't get it working. So there's just a lot that goes on behind the scenes to put this together. Not complaining, just saying thanks for all your patience as we get it worked out. We're continuing to work on the weekends and stuff every moment and chance we get just to keep improving this channel for you. So that's what I have as far as the notices for this morning. I'm going to go ahead and play this quick little intro, and then we are going to come right back with headline hits and get started. Okay, first up, we have this morning parade. Who doesn't love a good parade? Well, President Trump did announce that he's going to host a military parade to honor veterans, celebrate active duty service members, and mark the U.S. Army's 250th birthday, which is on June 14th. That also happens to be the president's birthday. He is going to be turning 79 years old. Statements have come out stating there'll be about 6,600 soldiers, 150 vehicles, 50 helicopters following a route from Arlington, Virginia to the National Mall. Trump has long wanted a military parade and tried to do it the first go around and didn't end up doing it his first term. But discussions with the Pentagon about having one in conjunction with the birthday festival began roughly about 2 months ago. Army spokesman Steve Warren said that the Army's birthday celebration will include a spectacular fireworks display, parade, and day-long festival on the National Mall. White House officials confirmed the parade will be one of the first events to kick off a year-long celebration of the nation's 250th anniversary. I think this is going to be a wonderful year, you guys. It's the first event to kick off celebrating this nation's 250th anniversary. President Trump has talked about celebrating this for a long time. There are different plans in effect as well for different parts of the country to have different things going on through the year. So I'm looking forward to that once some of these plans are finalized. As we continue this story, officials have said there's a formal decision to move forward. It's been made with the parade, but there is no specific cost estimate. There are options being looked at to make the celebration even bigger with more capability, demonstrations, additional displays of equipment, and more engagement with the community. The parade will include soldiers from at least 11 corps in divisions nationwide, and it would involve a Stryker battalion with 2 companies of Stryker vehicles, a tank battalion, and 2 companies of tanks, an infantry battalion with Bradley vehicles. The plans that while the parade is going to begin near the Pentagon, the heavy tracked vehicles would be stationed near the Lincoln Memorial and joined the procession there, so they would not go over the bridge from Virginia. The D.C. mayor acknowledged in April that the administration reached out to the city about holding the parade on June 14th. At the time, she said the tanks rolling through the city in the city streets would not be good, and if the military tanks were used, they should be accompanied with many millions of dollars to repair the roads, she said. She's not very happy about this, apparently. The late afternoon parade would be followed by a parachute jump by the Golden Knights and a concert, then the fireworks. According to the plans, the parade would be classified as a national special security event, and that request has been submitted by the National Park Service, is now under review. So there's been a lot of complaints about what was going to cost with this parade. However, celebrating 250 years of this great country in the military as well, I think is a wonderful thing. On top of the president's birthday, you remember Doge has found billions of dollars in waste. So those that are saying so much for Doge finding waste and then us spending it in this way, and as if it's something negative, is to me absolutely ridiculous. A lot of naysayers about there complaining about the cost of this parade, even though Doge has found billions, and people aren't as upset, it seems, some of them that are complaining about this celebration parade and the president's birthday. They aren't upset about the way that Doge has found all this money. They aren't upset about, yay, we're finally pulling the money back into this country, and they're not happy about it, and we're spending it on something good. This country needs that jolt of celebration and happiness. This country needs to celebrate the military again. We know that all we've been through, all these years from the last administration and so on. So I think that the naysayers complaining about the cost of this celebration really should be complaining about the money and time and efforts that's being wasted trying to import those illegals back here that we deported, the criminals. And they should be celebrating the amounts of fraud that they've discovered, corruption, misused dollars, lost money that Doge has uncovered. But, you know, basically that would be logical thinking. And we know some of these on the left or some of these liberals just don't have logical thinking. They want to just complain about everything. You notice they really never want to celebrate anything in a good way. They just want to complain and be negative. Anything that President Trump does, it seems like it's a lost cause in them. They're never going to be happy about any of it. So next up, we have former Georgia Democratic House candidate Carl Sprayberry. Well, who is he, you may say? Well, he's the one that publicly called for the offing of President Trump. Guess what? He has been arrested as part of a sweeping multi-agency child sex trafficking operation. It was Operation Lights Out that I reported about last week, but now we find out the names of one of the men involved, and it was this guy. According to the Muskogee County Sheriff's Office, 19 suspects, including a Georgia politician, have been arrested in connection to a multi-agency human trafficking operation. Deputies said the operation targeted those willing to exploit children by purchasing sex with a minor. Officials say boys and girls were targeted through social media apps and dating websites. Authorities did confirm no children were harmed, which is good news. They caught them before they could harm any children. Sheriff Greg Countryman from Muskogee County said, "It takes a sick individual who wants to take away a right that a child has, and the freedom and the safety and the comfort the child has to bring harm to these children." And that's being polite, and what his statement was, I think. Officials say 32-year-old Carl Sprayberry and 18 other suspects are behind bars after a 4-day operation that ran from this April 25th through the 28th. It focused on individuals engaging in sexually explicit communication with children on the internet who arranged to engage in sex with a child and to travel for the purpose of having sex. Travel. They were willing to travel. Sprayberry ran for Georgia's House of Representatives District 139 in November of 2024. And an operation like this takes months to prepare, the district attorney Don Kelly stated. Protecting our children from these kind of predators is one of the most important things that we can both do as law enforcement and as prosecutors. Officials encourage parents to monitor their children while using social media. He said, "I can't stress enough for the parents. Please monitor your children and what they do on the computers. It is okay to be a nosy parent." That helicopter parenting term to me that went around can go to the wayside. We have seen what happens even when we try to keep an eye on our children. We have to be very diligent in this because these people are very powerful people that we're finding out each and every day. As I've stated before, there's always something that comes out with somebody that is in a power of authority, a government official that has access to these children and is part of this big monopoly that they have with these sex trafficking rings. So it's very sad and unfortunate. It's disturbing and disgusting, but it is a reality. And it says it's okay to be a nosy parent, know who they're speaking with, because we're not going to stop until they're not going to stop until they get caught, each and every one of them. They want to continue preying on our children. So we have to be very careful, very diligent, of course. Next up, we have President Trump is once again he just announced he's donating his $400,000 presidential salary as he did in his first term. I personally love to read the comments, and you guys should too, underneath whoever posts it. And when you have that headline and you go into the comments, you read through, so many are quick to criticize it in every way, including how much he golfs, like that has anything to do with donating his salary. Trump haters complained about his first term with that as well. But reading the comments really shows you the minds of the radical people that Trump can never win with them. They offer nothing but negativity and unconstructive criticism while being silent on the last administration and Biden sitting on the beach a lot. We saw that a lot. That was okay with them. Or maybe Biden not giving on-the-spot pressers or answering questions when he walked out of the White House to, the chopper. He had pressers, and if it wasn't pre-planned out with having cue cards for his answers and the reporters, the questions that they were allowed to ask him, he couldn't read the answers from the cards, even though it was planned question and answers. There was nothing spontaneous about it. Anyhow, they were okay with that. But President Trump donating his salary again as president and donating it to different charities, they're like, well, where are you donating it to? How are you donating it? They're just naysayers. And I just think that some people you can't win with. But the good news is, I want to thank President Trump for being himself and moving forward to help this great country recover, recoup, including some of the crazed people are going to benefit from it. And maybe they'll see the light of what he's doing someday. We can pray for that. Up next, President Trump did release a statement on Truth Social last night stating the movie industry in America is dying a very fast death. Other countries are offering all sorts of incentives to draw our filmmakers and studios away from the United States. Hollywood and many other areas within the US are being devastated. This is a concerted effort by other nations and therefore a national security threat. It is in addition to everything else, messaging and propaganda. Therefore, I am authorizing the Department of Commerce in the United States Trade Representative to immediately begin the process of instituting a 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. We want movies made in America again. So there's no stone that's being left unturned with this president, and people will nitpick that and say, we're worried about this over here and you're worried about this over here. No, I think his administration is doing a pretty good job encompassing everything that is wrong with this country into the fine details. He's not missing the big things for in the sake of the small things. He's covering the big things as well as the small things. And hats off to him for that, because that is another issue. And we know how bad Hollywood has gotten and all of that. And it goes on and on. So that is what he's doing. It's 100% tariff on any and all movies coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. Next up, the Kentucky Derby was this weekend, and I found it interesting. The horse that won was named Sovereignty, and Sovereignty beat out the horse named Journalism to win the Kentucky Derby. Did you find that interesting? I am always amazed, as well as the hats that are worn. Some are so beautiful and some are completely off the wall. But a note I wanted to make about that is that obviously there's a lot of people that go there. That is a big deal for many. But Larry Burkhead attending with his and Anna Nicole Smith's daughter, Danny Lynn. You remember Anna Nicole Smith, the model, and the tragic story of her life. But what was interesting was she was wearing the same dress her mother did 21 years ago at the same event. She looked beautiful in it. And I remember watching all the chaos once Anna Nicole passed away and the fighting over Danny Lynn between Larry and Howard Stern. Howard was saying he was the father. Larry wasn't. Larry fought for his daughter tooth and nail with everything he had. And the good thing about this story is, out of tragedy comes triumph, is he took Danny Lynn out of the spotlight for the most part and has raised her away from Hollywood, bringing her up with a normal life. We know her mother's life was tragic and far from normal. I bring all this up because he has been an amazing single father who has put his daughter first, and she has become a beautiful, smart young lady. He didn't want her to experience what her mom did by being in a spotlight. And it's never easy being a that he had, through that when Danny Lynn was a baby. So I do think it's important to focus not just on the tragedy of the past, but the triumph of one man doing all he can to raise a beautiful human being and protect his daughter. More than money and fame, he gave it all up to let her live her best life possible against all the odds. And I just think it's a triumph story. said, we can continue to collaborate, we can work together, but with you and your territory and us and ours. She said, we can share information, but we will never accept the presence of the United States Army on our territory. So White House Deputy Press Secretary Ann Kelly stated, President Trump has worked with the President Sheinbaum to advance border security collaboration with Mexico to the highest levels ever. They do have over 10,000 border patrols on their side as well, protecting the border, something that they hadn't done before. So they are working together. The robust cooperation and information sharing is delivering tangible results, including the removal of numerous cartel leaders to the U.S. to face justice and creating the most secure border in the industry. Since taking office, Trump has continued to use CIA drones to conduct surveillance flights over the country in coordination with the Mexican government. He has also formally named drug cartels foreign terrorist groups. However, Kelly said Mexico must do more to protect Americans from dangerous foreign terrorist organizations and the drugs and violence they flood into communities on both sides of the border. She said, we will continue exploring ways to enhance our efforts across the region to dismantle these transitional criminal organizations, and we will make that we don't understand the reason that she feels that way, but we'll see what happens with this. The good news is she said that they'll continue working together and stuff, but saying never going to have U.S. military on our soil, that is really a line she drew in the sand. So I don't know how that's going to change, if it will change, but the good news is they continue working together, which is so very important. Next up, we have, in a significant legal victory for the Trump administration, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit has granted a stay on a lower court's order that mandated the reinstatement of over 1,000 Voice of America employees and the full resumption of broadcasting operations. This is a huge victory for President Trump and his Article 2 powers granted in the United States Constitution. It is also a victory for U.S. Agency for Global Media and for VOA. Carrie Lake, who is a USA GM senior advisor to the Trump administration, told Fox Digital News following the court's decision that happened this weekend on Saturday. The decision allows the administration to proceed with its efforts to restructure USA GM and its affiliated broadcasters. We are eager to accomplish President Trump's America's First agenda, which has always been to modernize and make our government efficient while cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, Lake said. An executive order led to the administration leave of approximately 1,300 Voice of America employees and the termination of numerous contracts. Now that we have a favorable ruling in the appeals court, we look forward to accomplishing the plan we've always had to bring VOA into the 21st century. Voice of America has been out of step with America for years. It actually served as a voice of radical America and has pushed divisive propaganda for years. So that is some good news because we know how much we've been censored. We know how much the media is one-sided. There's not equal time. Another survey just came out. Survey or poll it was, or data, I guess you would say it would be data, that is in the first 100 days of the Trump administration, mainstream media has covered his administration in a negative eye 99% of the time. I think one channel had 95% of the time it was negative, so they give him 5% of credit. But we're still facing these challenges in the media. They really aren't the media anymore that you can trust or anything. We've known that for a long time. So this action here for Voice of America is going to help even that playing field up a bit. And then next up for headline hits, Trump does want to reopen The Rock, which is Alcatraz prison. He wants it to open to house the most ruthless and violent of criminals. It was home to some of America's most notorious inmates, including James Whitley Bulger, Al Capone, George Machine Gun Kelly. The president did release the statement, rebuild and open Alcatraz. For too long, America has been plagued by vicious, violent, and repeat criminal offenders. The dredge of society who will never contribute to anything other than misery and suffering. When we were a more serious nation in the past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone that could do harm. That's why it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to be. No longer will we tolerate these serial offenders who spread filth, bloodshed, and mayhem on our streets. That is why today I am directing, and this was yesterday, the Bureau of Prisons, together with the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security, to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz. It will house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. We will no longer be held hostage to criminals, thugs, and judges that are afraid to do their jobs and allow us to remove criminals who came into our country illegally. The reopening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice like it has in the past. He said, "We will make America great again." So whatever you think about this, housing people that deserve to be housed in a jail like that, I think is wonderful and remarkable. But you do have the naysayers out there against that as well, saying it's going to cost a fortune. He won't be alive by the time that it gets remodeled, and on and on and on. But me, for one, he's a president that is making moves in order to have America safe again. And it doesn't matter if he's around or not. He's doing it for future generations. He's putting things into effort. So what we can hope and pray for are these EOs are signed into laws. These things get accomplished, because when you think about it, he has under 4 years to get this accomplished and things made into laws. And EOs are a great start, but we know it has to be passed into law. Otherwise, the next president that comes in could easily change that. So prayers up. And how about giving the president credit for all the efforts and work that he has done, the things that he has unveiled. When you're nitpicking all the time and you're going against it all the time, you don't offer a solution. So many people think they know so much, even when it comes to tariffs especially, that they want to nitpick it to death and be naysayers. And some people just live their lives that way. They're negative, nasty, ugly people. They always have to have something to complain about or drama. They don't want to extend that olive branch to communicate and maybe offer a different solution and do that. They just want to, pick away at people. And that time has come to an end now. We've got an administration that is fighting strong and hard, that is being transparent, that shows their cabinet meetings, that shows on the whitehouse.gov all the EOs and all the different things that they're doing. Take a look and investigate that, broaden your horizons a little bit, educate yourself a little bit instead of listening to just people talking, that maybe aren't telling you the truth or don't have your best interest at hand, or maybe are trying to put the fear factor in there, because we know there's an awful lot of that going on out there as well. So that's what I have for headline hits. But before I head out of here, for those of you who didn't catch it, if you joined the show late, we are having a show tonight. It is going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time across all the channels, X, Rumble, and YouTube. And it is going to be LW, Jeff B., and myself. It is going to be our first live call-in show. So the number has been being dropped by our wonderful, beautiful mods in chat today. And so take a screenshot, write it down, get ready, have your questions ready. Like if there's something you want to know about, ask the question and we'll do our best to answer it. And if we can't, we'll look it up and answer it for you. But we're so looking forward to speaking with you guys this evening. So once again, the number is 620-317-1776. Don't you like that number? It was handpicked by LW himself. He was very proud of that, to end in 1776. So that part's easy to remember. The 620, the 317 might be a little bit tricky. But anyhow, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again back here this evening, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the guys, and hearing what you guys have to say and answering your phone calls and questions. So take care. God bless. Have a great day. If there's anything significant in the EOs that Trump signs today, I will make sure to bring that onto the show tonight and let you guys know about it. So until tonight, have a great rest of your day. Take care. God bless. And I will talk to you tonight. Bye-bye.